Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to NSU Ross Gordon joined by Mike Bello, Assistant Sports Information Director here at Norfolk State University, as we get set for another huge MEAC Road contest this weekend as the Spartans travel to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore on Saturday. And then on Monday, the Spartans will face Howard on ESPNU. Also joined by head coach Anthony Evans. We'll get to Coach Evans in a moment. But as the season has gone along, Mike, the Spartans have started to get healthy and started to gel a little bit better after defeating Navy here at home in the last contest.
Yeah, and I think it helps that you have players starting to really hit their stride. You know, Pendarvis Williams has gotten over that sprained MCL that he had. He's really healthy now. Malcolm Hawkins, he's been playing well the last few games. Rob Johnson, those guys that you're going to need to step up every game have really started to play well, and that's going to hopefully carry over as you get into conference play.
Also, as you look at this, Mike, the Spartans have now started to find a rotation that they're good with, and you know who's coming in for who, and you know your roles, and that's one huge thing that the Spartans had last year. They had a role for every set player. When they came in, they knew what their job was.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the perfect time to do it, as non-conference play is exactly why you have those games, to get your players set in those roles. And now that they have them set, hopefully everything should be good going into conference play, and everyone knows exactly, like you said, what their role is, what they're going to be doing when they come into the game, and it's smooth sailing from there.
He was named the most outstanding coach in the tournament of 2012 here this year, and his name is Coach Anthony Evans. Coach Evans, thank you for stopping by here on NSUSpartans.com and giving us a little bit of your time. I know you're very busy preparing for this weekend. First of all, Coach, we just mentioned it. Now it seems like the team is gelling and getting into a place where you know your roles.
Right. Well, in the preseason, you're kind of trying to find that rotation. Guys are trying to get used to playing basketball because they didn't play a lot last year. So we've got a comfortable rotation. I think here and there, other guys might be able to play, but we're pretty much set with what we want to do.
Coach, obviously this is a big game for UMES. They haven't played a home game at all this year. They've been on the road. They're winless at all, so it's a team that doesn't have much to lose. They're going to come in, they're going to be pumped up. I'm sure this is probably their first week back from school too. The kids are ready to get a home game under their belts. What do you have to do when you have a team like that that's a big underdog, doesn't win a game, but they got that first home game, and they're really pumped up? What do you have to do to kind of get them out of their rhythm?
Well, match their energy. In the beginning of the game, they're going to be really pumped up to play. Their first home game, crowd's going to be behind them, and we have to take that first blow, whatever that blow is, and be ready to respond from it. Systematically respond to what they're doing and execute our game plan.
Ross Gordon, Mike Bello, and Coach Anthony Evans here on NSUSpartans.com. Getting set for this weekend. It's a huge weekend, as we mentioned earlier. This is your second MEAC weekend. Mm-hmm. We took care of business down when we went to Savannah and then on to South Carolina State. Now you face a different testing because you're going up north, but you're going against teams that are really struggling. And again, you look at where South Carolina State and Savannah State were. They were two different places than where UMES and Howard is. Talk a little bit about that part of the whole scenario.
Well, you can't look past them, because even though the UMES is winless, I think Howard's won a few games, they're still talented teams. You can never take them for granted because they're home, and you never know how the ball's going to bounce. So you have to go in, play with energy, defend, rebound, and do the things that we've done to make us successful.
Beginning part of the season, you've had you're 7-10 now, so 17 games, 14 of them have been on the road, including the 2 MEAC games that Ross was talking about. And you go right back on the road and you play 2 more MEAC games on the road, which obviously means you're going to have a lot of home to finish out the season. Right. But is it kind of, to start the second half of the MEAC season on the road, is it one of those things where, okay, we've been on the road so much, we know what to do, players are going to be very comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, they should be. By now they should be, because we've been on the road for so long. And then going down to Savannah and South Carolina State, you kind of understand what the league is about. So we'll be prepared going into UMES and Howard. And then, again, we have to take care of business.
We talked about Howard a few moments ago as well. Howard, an interesting challenge for us, because we talked about it earlier in the week about how this game is going to be on national television. It gives you a lot to shoot for in this game. One, for recruiting and national exposure purposes. The game is going to be in prime time, 7:00 p.m. live on ESPNU. Your guys are going to be excited. Their guys are going to be excited. So it just heightens the level of intensity of that ball game.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a good game on ESPNU. Everyone wants to put on a good show. The guys are excited because their families and friends get to watch them play, and you want to play well. So we're going to have to go out and execute. We're going to have to go out, one, take care of us, make sure that we're focused mentally and physically, that we're not just going out there trying to run up and down and showcase. So we have to stick to the game plan.
Coach, last year in the MEAC tournament, Howard gave you a pretty good game. They brought most of those players back. So what can you expect out of them this next year, next go around?
Well, they're going to be better. I'm pretty sure they remember the game from the tournament, and they're going to come out ready to play. And again, we have to match their energy, we have to match their intensity, and be ready to take care of the basketball game.
Coach, Mike mentioned it, 17 games in now, and we're talking about going into the second phase of the season. I know you're big on preaching the three phases of the season. Coming out of phase one, going into phase two, how happy are you with your squad?
Well, I'm satisfied with where we are. I think if we would have brought last year's group back, then I may have been disappointed. But at 7 and 10, we're not far off from where we were last year, and then we're in a good position in the MEAC. So, we just want to carry it on and continue what we're doing.
Coach, obviously the Ball State game was a tough loss. Last second dunk that they win to beat you guys. What's going into MEAC now and all the MEAC teams who you are familiar with from last year and stuff? What is it going to take to prevent those teams from doing one of those last second or just anything like that?
Well, consistency. Knowing who's on the floor, knowing the guys that are hurting us. If you look at the Navy game, at the beginning we took out their leading scorers. They couldn't score. But then when the coach kind of conceded and he put the guys on the bench in, somebody comes off and starts knocking down shots. Well, you have to lock in on him and stop him. So when we get into the MEAC, whoever we're playing against, we have to find their main guys and try to shut them down. And if somebody else steps up, be able to make that adjustment in game.
And finally, Coach, we talked about the fact being on the road. MEAC contests on the road are huge, especially going into the tournament season, especially when you're looking at a game against Howard where we don't see them again. Right. And going down the stretch, you don't know how they're going to finish, but if you finish well, it gives you a big statement if you can get these wins on the road.
Right. It's important. We only play these guys one time, or at least Howard one time. So we have to go out and we have to perform well because it puts us up in the standings. And, again, we won't play them. So, it's important for us to get the wins.
Thank you, Coach Evans, for your time. Don't forget the Spartans will take on the University of Maryland Eastern Shore on Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. You can hear all of that action on Hot 91 and hot91online.com on the NSU Sports Network. I will bring you the call. And on Monday night, the Spartan men take on Howard University. That game is at 7 o'clock p.m., and that game will be broadcasted live on ESPNU. The women will take on Howard at 4:30 p.m. on Monday night, and that game also will be broadcasted on ESPNU. If you can watch, you watch. If you can listen. We're happy to hear you or see you either way. We thank Coach Evans for his time. And Mike, I'm Ross Gordon. You've been watching NSUSpartans.com.